All right. Thank you all for being so patient. We've been waiting to get on the air. When the sign goes up back there, so if you always wonder what we're waiting for, that's what's happening. Mary, do you want to come on up? Let's talk about the National Federation of the Blind and Meet the Blind Month.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and City Council, I am asking that Mayor sign a proclamation with respect to something that we in the Federation call Meet the Blind Month. We are inviting the city, on the one hand, to meet blind people, interact with blind people, so that the city and all of its citizens can learn that blind people are just a cross-section of the regular society. The only thing is we can't see. We have to find alternative techniques to get the tasks done that other people do with their vision. We want everybody to know that given the proper training and opportunity, the average blind person can do the average job in the average workplace as competently and efficiently as the average sighted person. The other thing I want to do through this proclamation is thank the city for its work in installing accessible pedestrian signals. These are traffic signals that give cues by sound rather than solely by lights and vision. And through the Access Board, the NFB, the National Federation of the Blind, and the city have worked a joint effort here. It's a very rational and practical one, whereby intersections are scored according to an objective criteria scale, and then it can be determined whether to install one of these accessible pedestrian signals. We in the Federation want to ensure that the signals are only placed where they are necessary. They are not necessary at every intersection. We want to ensure that they're only placed where they need to be. We want to thank the city for working with us as an organization of the blind rather than working with professionals for the blind. We also want to thank the city as the Federation for working with us to save the post office downtown, and Peggy Chong here is going to thank the city for that.
It's Mayor County, City Council. I just want to express our thanks to the National Federation of the Blind and many of the other organizations. The City Council, Chris Hensley and Mayor County in particular, work very closely with us, and as we all know, we still have a Capitol Square post office.
Thank you. Now, I want you guys to stay up here. We're going to have a little photograph here in a minute, but I do want to read our proclamation. It reads, whereas the National Federation of the Blind was founded in 1940 to end the discrimination against the blind and to secure first-class citizenship for all blind persons. And whereas today the Federation, representing more than 50,000 members across the country, continues to work to secure equal rights and opportunities for the blind, and where the NFB works to change attitudes about blindness by providing information about blindness to parents, teachers, school administrators, businesses, political and social and civic leaders. And whereas since blind people and blindness are still frequently misunderstood, the National Federation of the Blind has developed a public education campaign, Meet the Blind Month, to create opportunities for the people of Iowa to learn firsthand that blind people are basically like everyone else. And whereas the Iowa affiliate of the National Federation of the Blind, the National Federation of the Blind of Iowa, now in its 66th year, invites neighbors, co-workers, and classmates to join them in various Meet the Blind events throughout the month of October to learn how blind people lead full and active lives. Now therefore, I, the Mayor, on behalf of our City Council and all the citizens of the City of Des Moines, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2012 as National Federation of the Blind Meet the Blind Month, and we urge all of our citizens of Des Moines and the surrounding areas to accept this invitation to meet members of the National Federation of the Blind, which is the voice of the nation's blind. So thank you both very, very much. Let's give them a big hand. If you guys would come up.
I also have these goodies for all of you.
All right, good, good, good.
I have brochures and something we call kernel books. Kernel books get to the heart of the matter of blindness. They're short inspirational stories written by blind people explaining how the Federation philosophy has enriched their lives. And I also want to say that we look forward to many more projects with the City of Des Moines.
All right, well, as long as you guys are leading it, I think that and give us good direction, we'll keep trying to follow. And here is your proclamation. I'm going to present it to the both of you.
Okay.
We got it? All right, here you go. Thank you.
There are enough of
And
these.
do you want me to help hand these out?
Yes.
All right, I'll take care of it.
The staff, everybody.
All right.
We don't want any of them back.
That's what we have. Start. Yeah. All right. Marilyn?
I'm Marlon.
Marlon. All right.
You're not the first and you won't be the last.
All
Call me
right.
Marilyn.
Supposed to be that one. All right. This is National Disability Employment Awareness Month. Marlon, tell us what's going to happen.
Well, Goodwill Industries empowers individuals and families with barriers to independence through our training, education, and employment programs. Last year, we provided service to over 1,943 people. 220 people were able to go through and get jobs in the community. Just last week, we reached the barrier of 222, so we're ahead of last year, and we're over 2,100 people that we have served so far. And basically what we try to do is teach people basic work skills so they get jobs out in the community and they'll put that training slot for someone else. Now, the economic impact of a person gets a full-time job and they spend the wages they earn and it turns over 2.5 times, with those people placed last year, if they work full-time, 40 hours a week, it'd be over $9 million that get turned over in the economy and respent.
That's fabulous. Sounds like, and next year's you can do better, right?
Yeah, well, we're at 222 today, or yesterday, so we hope to get to 260 before the end of the year.
Oh, that's fabulous. All right, let me quickly read our proclamation. Whereas the month of October has been designated by the United States Congress as the National Disability Employment Awareness Month, and whereas the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990 and the laws against discrimination promote independence, empowerment, and quality of life, and whereas the City of Des Moines recognizes the demonstrated benefits of a diverse workforce and experiences every day the valuable contributions of its employees with disabilities, and whereas we must continue to work for a community where all individuals are respected for who they are, celebrated for their abilities, and encouraged to realize their full potential and achieve their dreams. And whereas through the associated Ability One program, Goodwill Industries of Central Iowa provides employment opportunities to people with disabilities, enabling them to lead more productive and meaningful lives, provide support for their families, and develop skills necessary for long-term employment. And whereas the City of Des Moines recognizes the important contributions of Goodwill Industries of Central Iowa to Des Moines and its citizens. Now therefore, I, the Mayor, on behalf of our City Council and the citizens of Des Moines, do hereby proclaim the month of National Disabilities Employment Awareness Month in Des Moines, Iowa, and hereby commend all persons who are committed to work toward enhancing employment opportunities for people with visual and other severe disabilities. And thank you so much for your work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's give him a hand, and here's your proclamation.
Did it work?
Okay, yep.
Did it work very good?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, Abe.
Oh, Abe is not here.
Abe's not here? All right, I didn't see him. Come on up. All right, just two of you?
Yes.
All right. We're going to talk about Des Moines Jazz History Day, and I'm going to turn it right over to you guys.
Okay. The Greater Des Moines Community Jazz Center is a nonprofit organization that's been around for
think it's in its 24th year now, and its main mission is to provide opportunities for student musicians, both within the schools here in Des Moines and outside of the schools, giving them opportunities to play alongside professional musicians and learn their craft. And about 12 years ago, in 2001, we started a Jazz Hall of Fame to recognize Des Moines jazz heroes. Des Moines has quite a legacy that goes back to about the World War II years. And in 12 years now, we've inducted 37 individuals into the Des Moines Hall of Fame, Jazz Hall of Fame. And this year, the person to my right here is Scott Davis. He earned his master's degree at Drake University and just recently retired from the public school system, but he's working with DMAC right now on some jazz programs they've never had, and teaches out of his home. But he's entertained jazz fans in Des Moines with countless hours and continues to.
All right, in commemoration of that, and to Scott, congratulations. The proclamation reads, whereas American jazz is the music of freedom, individual expression, and creativity enjoyed by people throughout the world and certainly within the city of Des Moines. And whereas jazz musicians who by birth have chosen to call Des Moines their home have had a profound effect both locally and on a national level on generations of jazz musicians and have provided years of musical enjoyment and adventure to their local fans. And whereas a community jazz center of Greater Des Moines, a nonprofit organization of jazz musicians, educators, and fans, established the Des Moines Jazz Hall of Fame to honor the city's jazz heroes. And whereas the recipient of this year's award is trumpeter Scott Davis, and whereas this special event will be billed as a celebration of Des Moines jazz on Sunday, October 28, 2012. Now, therefore, I, the Mayor of Des Moines, on behalf of our City Council and all the citizens of the City of Des Moines, do hereby proclaim Sunday, October 28, 2012 as Des Moines Jazz History Day and urge all of our residents in our community to recognize and support jazz and all other creative forms that demonstrate the diversity, creativity, and expressiveness of all of our citizens. Thank you so much and congratulations, Scott. Let's give him a big hand.
Yeah.
We're just going to preserve it. You good? All right. Thank you. We will start our city council meeting in just a few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Larry, do you know that Councilmember Grace pulled 4A to speak to the Devlin? Do you know about the Devlin?
welcome everybody to our city council meeting on October 22nd. Prior to the start of our meeting, often we have a message or a word from a city council member. This evening, our member is Council Member Skip Moore, and he's got a message this evening, but asked that we remain seated to receive it. Mr. Moore?
Thank you, Mayor. You know, I like to do quotes, and I was thinking about some political quotes for tonight and then realized with the final debate tonight maybe I shouldn't. So I'm taking a look at the agenda and I realized there'd be a lot of labor people here tonight, but this quote not only goes towards labor, it goes towards everybody in this room, even including the mayor. And I'm going to apologize in advance. I left the quote at home, so I don't have the person's name I'm quoting, but here it goes. Isn't it amazing how unimportant your job is when you're asking for a raise, and yet how important it becomes when you're asking for a day off? Thank you.
All right. Let's call this meeting to order and ask clerk to take roll, please.
County.
Here.
Coleman.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Reese.
Here.
Mahaffey.
Here.
Hensley.
Here.
Meyer.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, item 2 is approving the agenda as presented and or as amended. It's been moved. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Item 3 is approving the consent agenda tonight. Those are items 3 through 32. These are routine items that we generally take and are enacted as a single vote, but occasionally a council member or member of the audience might pull one for additional clarification or discussion. This evening, these items are 3 through 32. Item 4A, Councilmember Grease wishes to speak. Is there anyone in the audience who has any other items, again, 3 through 32, that you would like to have pulled for additional clarification or discussion? Anybody? All right, could we have a motion for the balance, please?
Move.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that takes us now to item 4A, which is licenses and permits. It's approving alcoholic beverage license applications for the following. And item 4A is Dublin at 2307 University. They are asking for a Class C liquor license. Councilmember Grease.
I just wanted to point this one out. The Dublin has had several complaints in the past. It's right on the border of Councilwoman Hensley's and I's wards. And we've had a number of complaints about this location over the years. It's my understanding that it's a new owner that's taken ownership, but the same bar. I don't know what the legal options are. If we can continue this and create some sort of framework with the police department, some sort of MOU or something like we've done with some other locations in terms of loitering and the police being able to remove those kind of individuals. Certain signs being posted, things along those lines. Since it's a new application, I didn't know what parameters we had to do that.
City Attorney.
Please.
Mr. Attorney.
My knowledge of this is an arm's length transaction, so it'll be a new application. And speaking with Diane, this can potentially wait till the November 5th meeting, so some more information can come forward before that time. That's the limit of my knowledge regarding this application
Okay.
this time.
If that's okay, I would go ahead.
Could I just add that to your motion that we be sure and incorporate or include Drake University because it's...
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yep. And so I would move to continue item 4A, refer it back to the city manager to work with the police department with Drake University to create some sort of understanding as to how we'll operate moving forward at this location, particularly as it relates to loud noises late into the evening.
All right. Any discussion? Been moved. Mr. Coleman?
Sorry.
7 yes.
All right, that completes the consent agenda and moves us now to council requests. Item 33 is a communication from Councilmember Brian Meyer regarding the Market District redevelopment and Municipal Services Center Phase 2. Mr. Meyer.
Thank you, Mayor County. This comes from the several meetings that I've already had about the Market District. That's, of course, south of Court, south of the East Village. We renamed it the Market District as a working title for it. It's a request for the city manager and staff to start taking the first steps to look at moving the public works facilities and taking an inventory of property and finding out exactly where we stand with property owners and our property in that area to start the process of maybe looking at selling that public works facilities and seeing what we can do for moving everything to the Municipal Service Center within the next few years. We worked on this a little bit in 2010 and it went dormant for a while because of economic realities, and now I think it's time to start looking at it again. We met a few weeks ago with staff and with some interested parties and the principals in the area to fire this back up. The next meeting I think is on December 5th, and I'd like to, if there's no questions, I'll move it, but it's more of a formal request to have the city staff look at moving public works out of the East Village.
So we're going to refer to the manager's office?
Yes, the motion be refer the letter to the city manager's office and maybe get a communication back from the city manager's office possibly within the next 6 months, Rick? Does that work? Mm-hmm. So the motion be referred to the city manager.
Right. Any discussion has been moved?
Seven yes.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Meyer. Now let's move on to item 34. It's communication report. This one from Don Bergmayer of 1101 21st Street to speak regarding an adverse decision made by the Administrative Hearing Officer on September 19th, 2012. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Colony and council persons. My name is Don Bergmeyer. I live at 1102 21st Street. A camera cited me for a traffic offense. An administrative hearing was held on September 19th. In a similar case, in a necessity defense, a U.S. Airways jet landed in the Hudson River, plunging its 158 crew and passengers, including one infant, into the freezing water after apparently hitting a flock of geese. Captain Sully Sullenberger violated federal aviation flight rules and endangered the lives of 128 passengers and the flight crew when he made an unscheduled landing. Miraculously, everyone aboard was able to escape, thanks to Captain Sullenberger. At my administrative hearing, I explained what occurred. I also left a statement with Mayor County and council at the meeting on September 24th. I have also handed you a motion to reconsider that I had previously filed, that I submitted to the hearing officer on September 27th with more facts. The red light camera is incapable of determining the full impact of an event. The camera on the eastbound MLK exit did identify my vehicle, measured the speed, and displayed a red traffic light while my vehicle crossed the white line. The video recording clearly showed that there was no southbound traffic on MLK, so that entry onto the southbound lane could not have posed a hazard. The camera has no ability to reason. The camera has no concept of an emergency. The camera cannot relate in any way to the motorist and the information that he must possess while driving. The camera cannot reconcile what could have caused a motorist to execute a maneuver which otherwise would constitute an ordinance violation. An officer at the scene could have spoken to me and determined whether I should suffer the consequences of a knowing and deliberate violation. The facts show a police officer appeared at the hearing to determine, based solely on evidence gathered by the camera, that a violation had been committed. The only human observer at the scene, Don Bergmeyer, appeared before the hearing officer to testify. He explained the reasoning which, if observed by a real officer, should have eliminated the need for the city to make a significant demand for money. I posed 2 questions for the officer present at a hearing. At the hearing, the questions were answered by the hearing officer, not the accusing officer, which is a violation of my due process, which there was no officer. That makes it denial of my due process rights. It was determined that no officer observed the violation at the scene. I explained that my car died as I approached the traffic light in the eastbound exit ramp of I-235 at Elmell King. I testified that I determined that it would cause a serious safety hazard at rush hour if I was not able to travel to a safe stopping place. I testified that I assessed the MLK southbound traffic conditions and, seeing no vehicles, decided to roll across the white line to a safe spot off the travel portion of MLK. The hearing officer determined that the violation could not be set aside because I did not supply a statement from a mechanic regarding the malfunction and repair of the car. The camera and the Des Moines police officer at the hearing were not able to grasp the presence of a traffic safety hazard if I had left my car on the exit ramp. I admit crossing the white line on a red light. I committed the violation as a reasonable necessity of avoiding a greater hazard. Would it have been better if I had parked my car on the exit ramp, disregarding safety to comply with city ordinance? The city council should not enforce any ordinance in which reason is ignored. The camera's demand for money would not enhance the concept of traffic safety. I drove carefully, reasonably, accurately, and observed safety rules with substantial diligence. This should not be rewarded with a severe penalty. I committed the violation an emergency response compelled by the necessity of avoiding an imminent traffic hazard because of a traffic situation that was not my fault. I had been obeying all relevant traffic laws and safety rules of the road prior to the time of the incident. I asked the council to set aside the poor observation and reasoning of a brain in a metal box. I asked the council to erase the citation of violation. Also, I've incurred costs involved in this, including a parking ticket that I came in, parked my car at 4:30, knowing that you'd be closed at 4:30, and by the time I stepped back outside, I got the $15 ticket, and I'm asking for reimbursement of my costs involved in this action. I also want to say in closing, I disagree with the restriping of Hubble Avenue, including the other streets. Thank you very much.
I think at this moment, we probably need a motion to receive and file as comments. And I'll quickly ask the city attorney to, just for your benefit, let you know what our position is on this and our ability to handle this, Mr. Attorney.
Under our city ordinance, the city council has no ability to do anything with your citation. The next step for you is at court for municipal infraction action. You can present your case, and it's the burden of preponderance of the evidence. So at court, the risk is if you lose there, you pay the court costs as well, but that's the next step for you.
I have put that into my paperwork, but I haven't received a response back. Thank you.
Court?
Pardon?
From the court or from home?
To the City Hall. I followed up after the administrative hearing and filed another document and stated in the bottom of the document, which you have a copy of at the bottom.
Let me refer to the city attorney again.
The way the ordinance is set out, you can either do the direct challenge, the municipal infraction will start earlier. However, if you don't pay your citation as it's stated right now, the city will send you the papers for the municipal infraction action.
Oh,
the council has no ability to hear or redress your specific issue. We can at some point discuss how the cameras operate, under what circumstances, but we don't have the ability to override it, I think is essentially what I'm
So
saying.
now that I'm here, you're saying after the fact now, I
Well,
will
this isn't
get
after the fact, this is the rules.
I'll get
Now,
a
you as a citizen can address the city council for a purpose and ask for that time to do so, which you have done appropriately, and we've given you your 5 minutes to do that. And so we have received and filed your comments, and we'll refer them on to the city manager and the city attorney to give us some ideas about what in the future we might do about that, but we don't have the power to address or redress your complaint.
But my understanding is that I'll be receiving a further response from whoever, whether it's Texas or wherever this is, that'll lead me into the appeal to the district court, correct?
Yeah, if you don't make payment, that'll happen, yes.
All right, thank you very much.
Yep, thanks for coming down.
I'm going to vote no, not because I don't want to receive his comments. I just don't agree with the red light cameras, and I think this doesn't serve the process very well. So I'm going to vote no.
To receive and file the information?
Correct. I would prefer to make a different motion.
Okay.
6 yes, 1 no.
Do you want to make a motion?
Well, I think that would be no.
Okay. Okay, moves us to item 35, from Todd A. Francisco, President of Local 4 International Association of Firefighters, to speak regarding their perspective on the fiscal year 13 budget impact of the cuts within the fire department. Todd.
Thank you. Honorable Mayor and Council and Mr. Manager, thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is Todd Francisco. I'm currently the President of Local 4, the Des Moines Association of Firefighters. Address is P.O. Box 1821, Des Moines, Iowa. I come before you with 3 items on my agenda this evening. To summarize my letter to the Council on behalf of Local 4, you should have a copy of that. To put forth 2 items to the Council and to be available for any questions you may have. On 27 February 2012, the Council passed a proposed fiscal year 2013 budget. During that meeting, Councilman Coleman moved that the manager set up a monitoring system for that budget cuts to see how they affect service. That budget contained several cuts within the department. Those budget reductions have a direct impact on the public, the city, the department, and our members. Local 4 felt it would help to give our perceptions of the cuts and the impact our members are facing to help fulfill Councilman Coleman's request. Several cuts were made. However, we will constrain our conversation or ourselves to the reduction of personnel. On 2 April of 2012, Medic Units 6 and 4 were removed from service, which facilitated the creation of Medic 1. Medic Unit 6 was housed at 1919 Southeast 6th. Medic Unit 4 was housed at 917 University. Medic 1, the new medic, is currently housed at 900 Mulberry. Medic Units 4 and 6 were 2 of the busiest units in the city. With the merging of these 2 units, it is not difficult to infer the workload would intensify. The creation of Medic 1 from April to October 15th has averaged around 299 runs per month, approximately 44% more than the next busiest unit within the city. With the elimination of Medic Unit, we have seen an increase in the use of outside resources as well. Dispatch has had to call the private services like Mercy and Fraser ambulances when we run out of Medic units. And that's a reduction of possible income to the city. This extra workload has taken a toll to our internal customers and your #1 asset, your firefighters. After only 6 months of Medic 1 in existence, Chief DeKalb rotated crews due to the intensified workload. In my almost 23 years with the department, this is a first. I have growing concerns that once we rotate all the crews, what do we do next? TriData was commissioned by the council in 1997 to audit and give their input to the status of the Des Moines Fire Department. In 1997, they said we were as lean and mean as we could get and recommended the potential for expansion of the department due to the growth potential of the city. We have since annexed to the northeast and southeast substantially, as well as an agreement to provide EMS service to the Polk County Jail located outside the city. We have taken on greater service responsibilities with far less resources. If we were as lean as mean as we could get in 1997, and now the city has grown and the calls for services have increased, what are we today? Emaciated, I should think. Calls for service has steadily increased since the beginning of my tenure. When I started, we had roughly around 13,000 calls per year for service with roughly the same staffing levels as today. And now we're on track to break 20,000 calls for service this year. Our service to the city is personnel-based. In other words, it's the boots on the ground that will bandage the broken arm, extricate someone from an accident, and save someone's home from fire, and help your greatest asset, firefighters, to go home safe in the morning. Local 4 wanted to give our perspective to the council's request for a follow-up report to the cuts. Worth noting, President Obama has released millions of dollars for awards under the SAFER grant, which is the Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response Grant Program. We missed another window in July for the federal SAFER grants, where, if awarded, could have given some release to the city and the department and put a medic unit or more back in service to protect the citizenry and our #1 asset, firefighters. That brings me to my second agenda item. Although Councilman Coleman's remarks were to have periodic reviews on how the budget cuts were affecting the department, I have come to understand that the normal practice is to review these cuts around when the budget hearing or the budget's in or the budget year ends. My understanding that's the normal practice. I recognize that, and that may be the practice, but I feel a review sooner is needed. So I asked the council to authorize a review of the current budget impact on our internal and external customers utilizing the chief's leadership with Local 4's assistance and participation. On my second item, I urge the council to consider the SAFER grant program during its next enrollment period. I thank you again for allowing me to speak this evening. Our relationship with the council has always been strong and a positive one. I look forward to the continued open communication with the council addressing our concerns. Thank you very much.
One question, sir. You gave an address as a post office box. Is that your address? Is that?
That's the local's address.
And what's your address?
4067 113th Avenue, Greenfield Township.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I'll make the motion to receive and file the comments made.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Thanks for all your service.
Mr. Moore.
I'd like to make an amendment to that motion. I would like to refer it to the manager for a report back on some of the concerns that are in here.
That's fine, as long as it goes back to, is there an appropriate time level?
I think if you give us whatever you'd like to have from the waiver response back is fine with me. It could be 30 days is fine in order to go through a thorough review of it.
I guess what I would suggest is, based upon the comments made, that we do it during the budget process, because that's when we would get the information.
That's fine.
Is that appropriate?
When is the budget process?
Mr. Moore, council members, you typically take action on the budget in February, sometimes late February, early March, at the very latest, and your budget discussions typically will result in some policy direction in January sometime, about that time frame.
There's some health and welfare concerns in here that I think we need to report quicker than that.
Well, he's going to report back 30 days. Good.
How about if I give you a response back in 30 days, and then in terms of your deliberation, my suggestion would be that you would take it up as part of your budget process. It's only in the context of budget review that you can make sense of it, but I'm happy to give you our review of the suggestions back within 30 days.
That's fine.
That's fine.
7 yes.
Takes us to item 36, speakers regarding the Beaverdale Avenue streetscape project. Do we have any speakers regarding the Beaverdale Avenue streetscape project? We'd ask you to come forward and begin your comments, and if there's any other folks as speakers, plural, I guess. Are there others to speak on this item? If you are, can we put our hands up? If everybody that's going to speak on this kind of come to the south side and get behind the current speaker, that'd be great. And then we get a sense of how many folks are going to speak out on this item. Our first speaker, council say 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 for the first one, 3 for the next ones?
3.
What do you think?
I can be quick. I can be long, too.
All right, let's get going.
Okay, Robert Sanda, owner and operator of Tally's Restaurant, Bar, and Catering. Chef, dishwasher, busboy. I first want to read an email from my property, or my landlord. He owns the building at 2712 and 2710 Beaver Avenue. Okay. From Todd Malang. Thank you for the, I have the wrong email. I hope this doesn't dip into my 3 minutes. Okay, anyway, he's opposed. and so am I, for reasons of the street closure taking an entire construction season would really mess with my my margins. I would be worried about traffic flow in the area. Were it to take more than one construction season, I think that would pretty much put a nail in the coffin for me, as well as a few of the other business owners I have spoken to. I am afraid that this would eliminate a lot of parking and a lot of accessibility to the neighborhood, not only during the construction season, but after the completion of the project. I think a lot of people would find other ways to get to where they were going. We wouldn't have the regular traffic flow. I think people would avoid the area, and I guess my main concern is like I said, the dip in business during the construction season, as well as accessibility and parking. That's pretty much all I have to say about it. Thank you.
All right. Any questions of Todd? No, Robert, I guess. Todd's your landlord.
Todd is the property owner. That's correct. Okay. I have an email I can forward from him.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
If you choose to do so, direct it to the city clerk.
That's fine. And the SMID as well.
Manager's got one for you.
Just a question for you, sir. Have you visited with our engineering staff to talk about how access to your business could be accomplished during the construction?
I've been to a couple of different meetings regarding the roundabout. I haven't had a one-on-one conversation with anybody. I did see the blueprints for the project did eliminate parking.
Well, I would suggest, if I may, Mr. Mayor, to say this. I think that we try very hard to maintain access to properties during construction projects. Okay. It can be disruptive, but at the same time, we work hard to maintain access to businesses. And if you haven't done so, I'd suggest you make contact with our engineer. He's in the room tonight, so you might want to hook up there and get a chance to review the plans in some detail to see exactly how you would be impacted. Sure, sure. And the SMID as well, the hike in the property tax. Would dip into my margins. They're there, but they are tight. I am a growing business. Understand. Yeah. Maybe if you could hook up with Jeb Brewer, our engineer here on the other issue. He's right there. He's raised his hand. Okay.
Robert, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
How long has Tally's been open?
I've been open about 3.5 years, a little less.
Did you attend any of the meetings on this streetscape?
I did.
Project?
Yep.
Okay, have you been opposed to it since the very beginning?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next speaker.
Mayor and council members, Scott Anderson, 4041 Urbandale Avenue. I'm one of the owners of Beaver Tap and Saints Pub and Patio in Beaverdale. I'm here to let you know of our strong opposition to any project that includes the roundabout. When we first looked at this spot, we were very concerned about the amount of parking that was available at that time. My understanding is that the roundabout would result in approximately the loss of, a net 17 parking spaces. Although I understand we would have access during construction, anything that hinders access is a hindrance to our business. More importantly, the #1 customer complaint we have at our business is the availability of parking. Especially when the weather is inclement, especially on Friday and Saturday nights, and especially when you have cold weather. We've actually been somewhat successful in drawing people from more than just the Beaverdale neighborhood. Frankly, we're one of the largest users of the parking spaces around that business, and I don't know what we're going to do if we have 17 less parking spaces. People will have to walk further in inclement weather and cold weather. They simply won't do it. We have enough experience in this business to know that parking is key. Parking's number one. Not only are we concerned for our business, but part of having a vibrant business community is you have to allow parking for it. And we don't think the benefits of the roundabout outweigh the costs. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Next.
Hello, Mike Camper, 1804 38th Street, Des Moines, Iowa, 50310. Former Beaverdale neighborhood president, currently the treasurer. I'm also on the fundraising committee for the streetscape project. Been here before. Just want to kind of reiterate all the past presents. We've had several public meetings, both with just residents and also with business owners. And out of all those meetings, we've had always a majority of those there present in favor of the streetscape project. We also had a survey done, and the majority of those were in favor of the streetscape project, along with the roundabout option. We moved forward with the petitioning the property owners to get the SMID approved, and it's in that process. We're moving forward. One of with the concept plan, and until we can get the final, everything worked out with the design and everything, the on-street parking impact is 0, no cars removed. The off-street parking is 11 spots. Most of those are in the First American parking lot, where we have to move into, put the roundabout. Both Eric Sitzman, who was the former branch manager, and currently Marcus Littleton, who's the present bank manager, is okay with losing that parking space. They have enough parking remaining to satisfy their customer base. And just to kind of take this opportunity to update you guys, we've been doing fundraising, applying for different grants, started to sell the bricks at the Fall Festival and will continue on. The quarterly publication we put together, the sidewalk, will be going out at the end of October, early November. And in there, Sheila Navis wrote a very nice article related to streetscape and has several of the points from the MOU in there, along with the timeline that was laid out with the city in terms of the key points, including the construction phase. So, any questions?
Any questions of Mike? Skip?
Mike, since you've been through the whole process, can you give a rough estimate of how many businesses there are there in the Beaverdale area?
There was 18 property owners. There was, you're asking the wrong person on that one. There's over 30 businesses when you start counting the individual pieces, but there's 18 property owners. That one I do know.
Well, evidently they didn't all agree. Do you know about the percentage of breakout? How many were for and how many?
Probably about 70-30, just based on past meetings.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike. Anything else? Anybody?
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Sir, ma'am, whoever.
Hi, my name is Tom Coleman. I own Beaverdale Confections. Have for the last 3 years, anticipating the question. I am for the streetscape. I'm for the roundabout. I'm also a business owner in the neighborhood. One of the things that I find a little bit disappointing in this is it seems like either by design or whatever, we give each other enough room to hang ourselves because we've done this now for years. I think that we have a overwhelming majority. I think that the idea is feasible. I believe the money is there, and I believe that we should go ahead with it. And I think most people, the meetings that I've been to, are for this. I talked to 2 people this last week due to a lady that's going around trying to drum up her side of the support, who have never been to a meeting. They are business owners. They are business owners that have been there for more than 5 years. And, they're finally talking with me or someone else and saying, gosh, I didn't think this thing was actually going to go. But after years of having the meetings, the planning, the discussion, I think it's time to move forward. That's it.
Buddy? Tom, thank you, and appreciate all the efforts through the years that you've made, not only to Beaverdale, but also to the maturity of one of our council members.
Don't hold me to it. Yeah, little brother, that's true.
Yeah, but he made you really show good leadership skills.
I'm Sasha Camper. I live at 1804 38th Street in Beaverdale and have been a resident of Beaverdale for nearly 20 years. I'm speaking to you today in my capacity as a member of the fundraising committee for the Streetscape initiative. I would just second a lot of what my husband Mike has said as former BNA president and Tom Coleman has said. While I'm sensitive to some of the concerns raised, I do think there is some misinformation going around. The last official draft from Genus had 11 net parking spots lost, most of which were coming from that First American Bank parking lot, and First American seems to be comfortable with that. The process has been going on for over 5 years now. We've had numerous public hearings. The last big meeting happened about last fall. Hallie, I think you were there with us. I know Chris was there. Members of city staff were there and answered a great deal of questions about the roundabout, why we're considering it, what should the impact be on traffic flow. There is a contingent that doesn't like it, understandably, but most of the people, after they were able to hear the facts, when we took a show of hands at that meeting, and it was broadly attended, were in favor. Likewise, there was an internet survey, a web survey that was done in conjunction with that meeting. I want to say there were over 200 responses. Again, an overwhelming response, and the majority were in favor. So there are those who are not in favor of this. I'm not sure we can ever get them on board, but that's not unusual with any major development project. At this point, we've started fundraising. We've submitted major grants for private money. We've also accepted private donations for this. It would be a serious mistake at this point to stop this process. The train's really been moving, and at this point, we would jeopardize that fundraising process if we take a step back and reevaluate this yet once again over the same types of complaints.
Appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Hello again. Mayor and City Council, Mary McGee, 201 Locust. This time I'm going to not only speak as a member of the National Federation of the Blind, I'm going to speak as a member of the Access Advisory Board. I was not going to speak until I heard the word roundabout. Then I saw a red flag, but not too big a one. I'm just going to say that roundabouts present unique travel challenges for people who have disabilities because they are geared for smooth traffic flow rather than pedestrian traffic. So I am going to ask that TNT run this past the Access Advisory Board because the municipal code does give us the authority to advise the mayor and city council on matters of access. So will you please have the Access Advisory Board at least look this over so we can determine if the roundabout part of it is totally safe or what we might be able to do to improve it or get the latest research data or something. Would it be possible for us to do that? Thank you.
Mr. Manager, you want to quickly comment on that?
Mr. Mayor, council members, we'd be happy to have Access Advisory make sure that they've reviewed the plans and that we are as appropriate in our design towards all individuals as we can possibly be. So we'd be happy to do that.
All right. Any other comments, council members?
I guess the only comments I would make, I have received a fair number of emails, phone calls over the last couple of weeks. Some people are opposed to the roundabout. That's not new. That's not a surprise. And there's been a lot of questions about what is happening and what's going on. I believe one of the speakers, Mike Camper, maybe mentioned concerning parking. There have been a lot of iterations of this project. It's been going on for 4 or 5, maybe 10 or 15 years, I'm not sure. But there's been different plans and different phases. The plan that we currently have in place has 32 on-street parking spaces, and there's 32 currently existing. So in terms of the parking concerns, the on-street parking will be staying the same. First American Bank will be losing some parking, and they are okay with that, but that's their private parking lot. And then secondly, an email I got from Kyle Larson concerning the construction in general, and this is just kind of an overview for information. He noted that the construction staging plans will be developed to minimize business disruptions as much as we possibly can. Unfortunately, the final design process has just begun, so it is too early in the process to provide construction staging plans. Once the roadway design is completed and utility issues are identified related to the roadway design, the process of laying out construction staging will begin. There will be inconveniences throughout construction to individual property owners, but access will be maintained. The goal is to maintain through traffic on Beaver Avenue for as much of the construction period as possible. There will likely be short-term closures of Beaver Avenue for storm sewer construction, utility installation, and roadway tie-ins to the existing streets. And I think as a council, we understand the business concerns of maintaining access, keeping it open for through traffic, and we're going to work as hard as we can to minimize business disruption. I've heard a couple emails and a couple phone calls have indicated that Beaver Avenue is going to be closed for 2 entire construction seasons. By all accounts, I don't think that's accurate. At the most, it'll be very minimal during one construction season. So I just wanted to provide that information just to clarify in terms of parking. There won't be loss of parking, and there will be through access through almost the entirety of the project, save for some sewer and utility work that needs to be done. So I just wanted to provide that information. Also, for those who spoke tonight, the council is having a hearing on November 5th to receive and file the Schmid petitions from the businesses. And that will be a formal hearing where a motion will be had by the council. So if you'd like to come to that, just so you're aware of that as well.
You want to move to receive and file the other comments?
I will if there's no other comments.
I might just quickly let the council know and those watching that everything that Hallie said is true. I agree with him. The council, less than a month ago, also approved a $400,000 contract with the architect. So, we've had this on our agenda in very definitive ways. All of us voted for that a month ago, and turning our backs on this project now certainly seems like not only is the project, going to need to reverse itself, but we would as well, because we've started to spend money on this project in a big way. It was $400,000, I think. So we do have these meetings in November and December to do the official Schmid and move things forward, and I'm looking forward to it.
7 yes.
It's a lot of money going to Beaverdale.
All right, item 37 begins our hearings. I'll ask the clerk to note that we're going to open our hearings at 5:14. Item 37, first item in the hearings is on the sale by installment contract of city-owned property in the vicinity of 900 Mulberry Street, Central Fire Station number 1, to the Des Moines Social Club, $600,000. Council communication number 12-552. A is a communication from the Des Moines Social Club. Hearing is now open. Are there any speakers?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. My name is Glenn Lyons. I'm the CEO of the Downtown Community Alliance, and I live at 3316 Southern Hills Drive. I'd like once again to give you our support for this project. I mean, it covers a lot of angles. It's a 1938 Art Deco fire hall. There aren't many of these in America left, and this is a good way to preserve it for future generations. The arts and cultural components that the social club will bring to this and their partners in this space will be another contribution to our downtown community. And because they focus on young people, it's going to be a workforce development piece as well. It's something that will encourage our young people to stay here and will help us attract some of the young employees that we're going to need to fill some of our highly trained jobs. Beyond that, though, I've been working with the development committee for the last 6 months or so, and what I see is a high level of professionalism in their attempt to plan for this transition, to take over the building, to raise the money to pay for it, and to do the type of renovation that you would expect to see in a building of this kind. So once again, I'd like to give our support to the project. Thank you.
Thanks, Glenn. Any other speakers?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Jake Christensen, 506 3rd Street, Des Moines, Suite 200. I wanted to give a quick update. I know many of you have worked with us to get to this point, so, and appreciate the city staff and members of council's help. We just found out today that we, on the maintenance building, which is the building in the rear, has been allocated tax credits for this year. So, along with the work that Glenn has mentioned, Zach and everyone have had incredible success on the fundraising. We've made significant progress on the construction and development process, but just today found out that the maintenance building was allocated tax credits in fiscal 12. So they'll be live the minute that we're complete with the building. So that is an additional component of fundraising, and that we don't have to wait for those credits to become valid. So with that, I won't take any more of your time. Thank you very much for the support to date.
All right. Quickly, Jake, are there some deadlines and drop-dead moments that have to occur related to that tax credit award?
No, the city staff has cooperated with the submittal of those documents. Everything is in process, and we have up to 2 years to complete the building and still have the credits be viable.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thanks.
I'm not sensing anybody else is going to speak. Is that correct? Okay. When we set the date of hearing 2 weeks ago, we asked specifically for a meeting with the board of directors and other key players that are involved with Des Moines Social Club, and I guess for the benefit of the council and our audience and individuals. We had that meeting Friday morning. Councilmember Coleman and myself were able to be there, and it was over an hour meeting. We had city staff there as well, city manager Matt Anderson, and I believe there were probably 7 or 8 between actual board members as well as Kara Hayden, who's one of the tri-chairs for the fundraising component. I felt that that was time well spent, that it allowed us to have some very open, frank discussions regarding governance, fundraising, and just really walking through the process to ensure the long-term viability of the programs and what the city was asking. I know there's been a great deal of discussion just to ensure that all of the characteristics, as you indicated, Glenn, of the building, the architectural characteristics are retained. The one item that came up that we did address and has been added in the blue letter was going from an outright purchase to a 3-year contract. And there is a 5% annual interest rate that will accommodate that, which I believe is positive for us as a city. I don't feel the city should be the bank and not receive any payment in lieu of that. So I'm very comfortable. I feel like this is a very important project for the community. It really touches on the arts and culture, our younger generation, although I know that a lot of more senior people participate. So I think it's a great addition to the downtown community. I'm excited about it. This is a significant step, but I can assure you that from my perspective, I'll let others visit, we will continue to watch it very closely because this is really significant for the city, and it's very significant for you. I think Chris Draper, who's the president, indicated this is close to a little over a $3 million project, and they have a $400,000 operating budget. That's significant, and people will be watching that. So we just need to make sure that we dot all the I's, cross all the T's, and we keep taking the appropriate steps forward. So congratulations, and I think Councilmember Coleman wants to make some comments as well.
I just also wanted to add, because very few buildings or projects in town should deserve more scrutiny than our fire station downtown. It's iconic and part of our history, and I think the taxpayers should feel pretty good that we did go through a very thorough process, and probably more thorough than some would have wished, because we still had tough questions last week. I bring that up because I just want to say how appreciative I am for the leadership of the organization on a staff level, the professionals that run the organization, and those that are involved in its governance, all the board members and committee members, for responding to every question that we have. I think this is a really important day that this organization can continue to expand and grow. So I'm glad that you were very forthcoming. Thank you very much. It was a good process, and a room full of people last week dealing with really important questions. So thank you.
Motion, any other comments? Yep.
When we were making the decision between the two groups that wanted to purchase it, I made this statement then, and I'm glad to make it again to the Des Moines Social Club. Welcome home.
I'll move item, just a minute, I'm on the blue letter here. 37A.
7 yes.
Congratulations.
Moves us to item 38 on the vacation of the east, west, and north-south alleys located in the block bounded by East 1st Street, East Court Avenue, East 2nd Street, and Norfolk Southern Railway. A is the first consideration of the ordinance above, and B is the final consideration of the ordinance above. The waiver is requested by the city engineer, and it requires 6 votes. Is there anyone here to speak on item 38?
I'll move 38A and B.
Seven yes.
Item 39 on the Community Development Department request to amend the Des Moines 2020 Community Character Plan to revise and expand the future land use map to designate future land use for the undesignated areas that have been annexed, and to add the development control zone classification for areas that are subject to flood hazards. Is there anyone to speak on this item? Item 39. Seeing none, could we have a motion?
Move.
Thank you, Brian.
Oh, okay.
7 yes.
Item 40, a request from the Luther Park Health Center, Inc. for a 6th amendment to the Luther Park PUD conceptual plan in the vicinity of 2906 East 16th Street to allow construction of a 1-story addition for 10 memory care residential units to the west side of the Gardens Assisted Living Facility along Hull Avenue, subject to conditions, and to continue this to the November 19th, 2012 council meeting. Essentially, this is a motion to continue. Anyone to speak? Seeing none.
I'll move 40. They continue to provide a great service to the community over there.
They do.
Item 41, items regarding the property at 2419 Southeast 14th Street, Strollo Development, LLC. A is to amend the 2020 Community Character Plan to revise the future land use designation from low-density residential to commercial, auto-oriented scale strip development. B, hearing on the rezoning of the property to remove the VDL, the vehicle display lot overlay, to allow expansion of the RV sales lot subject to conditions. And C, the first consideration of the ordinance above. Items 41A, B, and C are related to 2914 Southeast 14th. Comments?
Michael Cunningham, 1347 44th Street, Des Moines, counsel for, and it's actually Schreier, if I pronounce it, Scheer Development, LLC, rather than
Could you spell that for me?
S-H-E-I-R-E-R.
S-C-H?
No, S-H.
S-H.
E-I-R-E-R.
Okay.
The P&Z, I believe it had accepted or recommended this with the provision of a 27-foot minimum paving setback. The contract that my client has this purchased on has a contingency that my client obtains the zoning changes. The problem is the acceptance of rezoning ordinance says 27. My client can't live with 27. They want 22 feet. And I've got Matt here to explain that, and he can explain it better than I can. And we've kind of a chicken and an egg with the seller and us. We're willing to sign it with 22 feet. They're willing to sign it with 27 if we drop the contingency. So we're hoping to get a sense of the council tonight as to which one would work, if they might work with the 22 feet. Matt?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. My name is Matthew Shearer. I'm the Director of Marketing and Sales for RB Direct Group. I also live here in Des Moines, 100 Market Street, apartment 107, Des Moines. It's really my fault we're here this evening, not just as a public hearing. I did not read the floor plans or the site plan correctly in regard to the Southeast 14th Street median moves west when going north on our property, but doesn't do that at the southern piece of property which we're trying to purchase from Mr. Boyd. I have some photos if that would help. I don't want to take up much of your time. In regard to the 27 feet, we need to be in a place where our units are easily displayed for customers running down Southeast 14th Street. We want to be good citizens. We want to help build Southeast 14th Street. I've been here the last 4 or 5 weeks hearing about owners of other pieces of property here in Des Moines who don't want to pave over gravel, don't want to do the proper water restrictions that are needed. We want to do all those things. I just want to have a display lot that I can do business at. If I could show you a couple of photos. This is the current location of our units at Southeast 14th Street, 2401. This is from across the street, and you can see they're not set back very far. As we move towards a 27-foot setback, it's quite significant. But that is not the problem really for this end of the property. As we move to the other end of the property, that orange line is where I'm standing, is exactly where the 27-foot setback would be. The property line actually moves from this sidewalk all the way back to here as you move south on Southeast 14th Street, putting my coworker here at the 27-foot marker. And it's quite significant. It's actually set back further than the house that's next door. We're doing 17-foot setbacks on the back side of the lot, on the side. We're trying to meet all of the requirements for water drainage. We don't want to live in a spot where there's tons of water as well. It's hard for our customers. We've been in business for 32 years. Our customers are rather wealthy on most occasions, especially with the product I'm trying to bring to Des Moines. $250,000 to $500,000 diesel motorhomes. If you look at our other dealerships, this is our 14-acre facility in Buffalo, New York. We want to have a very nice facility for people to go to. You'll notice that the setbacks are significant there. It's easy for us to live with setbacks like that when we're on a road that's much wider. There's no neighbors that are boxing us in for display purposes. And we also have a 14-acre facility there. This, I believe, would be about 5 acres, if I'm correct with that addition. I hope that you can see as we move further south, it makes it a little hard for us to display units. We sat with staff of the city of Des Moines to show them the issues with this. I do understand that the overlay requires that we exceed the 20-foot standard. I believe 22, when you take into the total square footage, is a significant amount. Chuck Bishop, who's our engineer, could show you that we've altered the interior space of the two lots to make it that there's plenty of green space and plenty of drainage for water. The last thing I'd like to show you is in regard to spacing. You'll see here that the units are spaced quite far apart. And when we sat with city staff, they were concerned that if we were closer to the road, these larger units actually make like a wall across Southeast 14th Street. It's actually the opposite. As we get into bigger units, our customers need more breathing space around a unit. So they get spaced quite significantly apart, and it'll break it up a lot. And we want to have about 24 units along that front line. We only put in new units. You will never see a pre-owned unit along that front line. We want to make it that it is a very nice dealership and brings a lot of business to the Southeast 14th Street corridor.
Can you explain to me again the 22 versus the 27? I think it's making more sense to me now, but I'm not sure I had it all when you.
If you're looking here on Southeast 14th Street, the median to make a left onto Lacona moves the street out and makes the easement closer to the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
As we go further down, it pushes it in significantly. So the line of units that we would have from this end all the way down is being pushed further and further back. So that photo that you saw of my coworker is very, very deep past the house and would make it that our units are moving on a line, more like an angle, a triangle, instead of a straight line.
Chuck Bishop of Bishop Engineering, 3501 104th Street. Chris, as you were indicating, what it is mainly the sidewalk is not paralleling the lot line. So the sidewalk's paralleling the curb line kind of out here, and the curb line's kind of angling as you go towards Lacona. So the curb line's a lot further, usually your lot line's about 1 foot behind the sidewalk. In this case, the sidewalk's way out in here where my pin is, and the lot line's way back, so you're really pulling further and further away with the sidewalk. What we're asking to do, we had originally shown, this was what we originally had shown to P&Z that had 27 feet here. The reason we had 27 feet is that when we originally did this, we were looking at travel trailers, which have a like 7-foot overhang. So you could back a trailer in there and have it set against the curb and an overhang in that 7 feet, and you still have your 20-foot landscape area. Now we're looking at the diesel units. They do not have the 7-foot overhang, so we actually slid it out, and we still have the 22-foot open space, which is more than you would have had with the 7-foot overhang on the original design. But we did take and add more landscaping, or more open area in the middle here. This would be a detention facility here, as well as another one down at the south end here, or north end along Lacona. But we're only required to have 10 foot of setback here. We're giving 17 along the east and next to the residence, 17 down here, and we're asking for 22 here, and we have 25 off of Lacona, 25 to 26. Again, the site is not paralleling Lacona, so it does vary through there. So but we are asking for the 22-foot setback here. We're still exceeding the landscaping requirements for the site. We have over, I think it was 42 trees, overstory trees, plus another 35 evergreen trees being planted around here, and then you have almost 100 shrubs being, in addition to that. So I think what we're trying to do is still meet or exceed the requirements for the overlay district. So we didn't feel that this change from 27 to 22 was really significant from the standpoint that the 27 really encountered overhang for trailers at the time. For if you back up a pull-behind trailer or a fifth-wheel trailer to the wheels, you have about 7-foot overhang on those. So they could stick out in there, where these will be the diesel units, which have basically zero overhang.
Okay.
Brian, question?
I don't have any questions. I'll have a motion when they're done.
Are you done?
We're done.
Is there anyone else to speak on this item? Seeing none. Brian, unless somebody else has a comment? Anybody? Go ahead.
First, I'm not too terribly thrilled about removal of the overlay. I went through years to get that in there. Southeast 14th has way too much used vehicles and display lots and that sort of thing. So I'm not too thrilled about that. But the motion will be to refer it back to plan and zoning to work out the details of, my understanding is that they agreed to these things at plan and zoning, and so now we, after discussion with staff, should send it back to plan and zoning to work out the details. So the motion is to send it back to plan and zoning.
Are there any time restrictions or?
Our restriction is we have to have the contingencies removed and close, or contingencies and the rezoning done by November 30th, and with a closing date of December 30th.
That's not my concern. The motion is to move
Yeah.
it back to plan and
I
zoning.
suggest that as part of the motion, the hearing be continued to a date certain as well. Otherwise, we have to republish and everything.
Continue the hearing of the
rezoning.
Rezoning to what date?
When's the next plan and zone meeting?
I believe if the council could continue that to your second meeting in November, I believe that's the 19th.
Okay. So in addition, the motion will be to continue this hearing to November 19th.
So that should meet your deadlines and,
Good, that would work.
okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Coleman, Mr. Mahaffey?
They're the ones that signed off.
7 yes.
All right. Takes item 42 regarding property at 5602 Southwest 9th Street, Christ the King Housing Services LLP. A is to amend the 2020 Community Character Plan to revise the future land use designation from low-density residential to high-density residential. B is a hearing on the rezoning of the property from C2, general retail and highway-oriented commercial, and R160, one-family low-density residential, to limited R4 high-density residential to allow the development of 25 senior residential apartments subject to conditions. C is the first consideration of the ordinance above, and D is the final consideration of the ordinance above. The waiver is requested by the applicant and requires 6 votes. Is there anyone to speak on item 42 regarding 5602 Southwest 9th?
Mr. Mayor and Council, my name is Jeff Raines. I'm with BSB Design, 6601 Westtown Parkway, West Des Moines. We are the architects for the project. I just wanted to make it known that I'm here if you have questions. I don't have anything to add beyond what you've read.
Any questions for Mr. Raines?
I'll go ahead and move item 42A, B, C, and D. I have had the chance to tour the new project that you built, and it's absolutely outstanding. It's a great project, and this will continue that. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Seven yes.
Item 43, items regarding the property at 909 East 27th Street. Jeff Nicholson is the owner. A is to amend the 2020 Community Character Plan to revise the future land use designation from one-family low-density residential to neighborhood retail commercial. B is a hearing on the rezoning of the property from R160 one-family low-density to C1 neighborhood retail commercial to allow the expansion of the existing outdoor power equipment business, subject to screening of any outdoor storage, and C is the first consideration of the ordinance above. Is there anyone to speak to this item? Property 909 East 27th. Yes, sir.
Jeff Nicholson, 909 East 27th, owner of P&P Small Engines. Bought the business 9 years ago and managed to acquire 909 with hopes of expanding at some point. The last couple years have been pretty rough, but we have been using it for occasional overflow, and to get in compliance with some of the city's concerns, we've asked to rezone it, and I guess that's the first step for us. So.
Okay. Any questions for Jeff?
Jeff, you're asking to waive the second and third readings to move forward with this.
I'd like to waive the second, third readings if possible.
The, and I apologize, you called and I wasn't able to return your call. So if there's no comments, I'll move 43A, B, and amend C to include waiving the second and third reading without objection from the audience.
I'd make some comments. He's really a positive business over there on our east side, and I think that he does a nice job keeping it clean, and it's very presentable. And I know, well, at the dairy, we use him off and on for a number of things, so he's done a good job over there.
So the
Mayor,
motion includes the waivers.
I'd like to comment on this also, is that he's got support from the neighborhood with the caveat of the screening, and Jeff has already, in my understanding, pulled the permit so he can do the fencing and the additional screening if this passes tonight, and he does keep a very neat piece of property there.
All right, thank you, Jeff.
7 yes.
Item 44 on PCC overlay of East 18th Street from East Walnut Street to Dean Avenue with a resolution approving the plan specifications, form of contract documents, engineer's estimate, and designation of the lowest responsible bidder as Sternquist Construction, Inc. Britt Sternquist, President, $127,968. Council Communication number 12-548. And A is approving the contract and the bond and permission to sublet. Is there anybody here to speak to this item? Seeing none, could we have a motion?
I'll speak to it. It really is needed. It's a very rough street there between that, and it's Brian's area, so Brian's ward.
I'll move 44 and 44A.
7 yes.
Item 45, on the interurban trail bridge repair, the resolution approving the plan specifications, form of contract documents, engineer's estimate, designation of the lowest responsible bidder as Kramer and Associates, Inc., Robert Kramer, President and CAO, $229,804.25. Council Communication number 12-549. A is the approval of the contract and the bond and permission to sublet. Anyone here to speak on this item, the interurban trail bridge repair? Seeing none, could we have a motion?
I'll move this item.
Seven yes.
Note that the hearings end at 5:43. All right, item 46 is items regarding the redevelopment of the Southern Meadows property in the vicinity of 2800 Southeast 8th Street by Hatch Development Group, LLC. Council Communication number 12-558. A is accepting the PUD restoration bond for grading the property. B is setting the date of hearing on the sale and conveyance of the city-owned property at 2843 and 2839 Indianola Avenue to Hatch Development Group, LLC, and that hearing will be November 5th. C is the home funding agreement with the Hatch Development Group, LLC, for the development of 38 housing units. D is the NSP funding agreement for the Southern Meadows Home LP for the development of 38 housing units. And E is the private construction contract between Kester Construction Company, Inc. and Hatch Development Group, LLC for the storm sewer improvements at 2606 Southeast 7th Street for $65,520. Anyone here to speak to these items?
Mayor, County, members of the council, my name is Carol Bauer with Hatch Development Group. I'm at 1312 Locust, Des Moines, 50309. We would just like to respond by thanking, on behalf of Jack Hatch, Sonia Roberts, Hatch Development, and all of the development team, the work that city staff has put into helping us achieve this goal to meet the project. The city manager and the council have been very aggressive on helping us get this done. It's going to be an extremely important project for the Indianola Hills neighborhood, and we will provide a quality project in the Hatch manner. Thank you. I would also be happy to answer any questions.
Who's got the time capsule?
We do.
I want to see that, man.
Okay.
There's a time capsule in the old hospital that was there. So.
Really?
We're going to let the Indianola Hills
Okay.
Neighborhood Association decide when they want to do that, and the city. So, thank you.
Thanks, Carol. This has been a long time coming. I think we're all very familiar with this, working with Jack over the last year. A vast improvement over the structure that was there, so I'm very pleased to move, if there's no comments, 46A, B, C, D, and E.
Great.
Now, right, I want to congratulate all of you at Hatch Development on working forward on this, and we look forward to a great quality development down there. 38 units and of a quality type of housing. And as Carol noted, city is very interested not only in how it looks, but we've certainly assisted with quite a bit of help on the financing end. So we look forward to getting that done, and thank you, and let's get going.
7 yes.
Okay, item 47, Park and Rec Department reduction in force. Council communication number 12-555. Ask for speakers. I see a gentleman in an orange shirt here.
Thomas Hayes, business manager of CPEC. I represent the City of Des Moines employees, among plenty others that live inside the City of Des Moines. Our office is at 5806 Meredith Drive. It happens to be just outside city limits. But normally I'm up here hammering on the city manager and city council and directors. In this case, I mean, I would love things to be different, but the airport authority has let down some city employees, also let down the Parks Department by making the assumption that they don't need these employees out at the airport through the winter. Now, I've argued quite a bit with them about that they're going to have the need. Until we have a decent winter, they're not going to notice the difference. But I do want to give some great gratitude to the city manager, Rick Clark, and Ben Page, the director of the parks, and also James Wells, for working really hard to try to help these employees stay employed till they can find other opportunities. So I greatly appreciate all that hard work you're doing.
Thank you for your comments.
Wow. Thanks, Tom. Can we have a motion?
I'll move 47.
Mr. Coleman?
7 yes.
All right, can we have a motion to adjourn as City Council and reconvene as Board of Health?
Move.
Extra item.
Extra item. All right, well, All right, sorry, extra item. Extra item 1 is accepting the resignation of Gabriel Carnes from the Traffic Safety Committee, seat 4, effective October 26th of 2012, and a recommendation from Councilmember Hallie Grease to appoint Gabriel Carnes to the Human Rights Commission, seat 4, effective October 22nd, 2012. Councilmember Grease makes that nomination as well. Anybody here to make comment on it? I'll
I'd
bet
make
you have
the
a motion.
if there's no issues.
Seven yes.
All right, now can we have a motion to adjourn as City Council and reconvene as Board of Health?
Move.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We sit as Board of Health. Item 1 on our agenda is approving the legal department to proceed with court action seeking authority to abate the public nuisance at the following locations. A is 318 East Holcomb Avenue, a main structure and a garage structure. And B is 3023 East 13th Street. It's a main structure. Is there anyone here to speak to either one of these items, either on East 13th or East Holcomb Avenue? Seeing none, could we have a motion?
Seeing none, these are both in my ward, and I went over and viewed them yesterday, and they definitely need to be torn down, and I will move this. 1A and B, Board of Health.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Could we have motion to adjourn? It's been moved. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We sit adjourned until next time. Appreciate everybody attending.
Rick, on that email from Mark Godwin,